and 0 losses. And Nicov versus Slam both drew their first round games. So this is almost like a tiebreak between the two players right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes. Both players extremely high caliber. So Rez should be ready in just a sec, and I'm ready to go when he is.
All right. I have returned, and I am into the game at approximately 0 seconds in.
All right. So in 3, 2, 1, go. And I'll let you do an intro.
All right. Thank you so much. As always, it's great to be here today, Zach. We are on to the last series of the day for the Age of Empires 2 Elimination Draft Tournament hosted by Escape Gaming. It's going to be Slam versus Nicov on the map Arabia. On the right side of the map, we have Nicov playing as the Blue Franks, and on the left side of the map, we have Slam playing as the Red Chinese. Of course, this tournament has a special gimmick. Would you like to briefly explain that for those of us who are just tuning in?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a gimmick. It's like the whole premise of the tournament, Rez. You're completely downplaying that. It's called Elimination Draft for a reason, damn it. But no, you basically, Rez is referring to the fact that every single game that is played, the players will ban 4 civilizations for their opponents, and then they will pick 1 civilization. That means that in total, each game, 5 civilizations are either picked or banned. And those civilizations are then eliminated from each player's civilization pool. Now, since with the new expansions, the African kingdoms, the Rise of the Rajas, the Forgotten Empires, there is a total of 31 civs in the game. And nicely, each player will play 6 games throughout the tournament, since they will play 2 games in each round, and there's 3 rounds. 6 times 5 is 30, and that means that after the end of the tournament, there will just be 1 single civilization left in the pool, and all of the others will have been either picked or banned and eliminated, hence Elimination Draft. So, that's now leaving us in round 2 with some less favorable civilizations, but still very decent civs, that's for sure. We've got the Franks for Nicov, which I've got to say are much better in the expansions. I mean, the Franks are just so bad in 1v1, arguably one of the worst 1v1 civs in AOK and AOC. But now in the expansions, they certainly are a little bit more promising thanks to some of the buffs which they have received. And then, of course, the Chinese, which we know are pretty versatile civ, and probably going to have potentially have a small edge in this one.
Indeed. So, the Franks, like I mentioned in one of our previous co-casts, they've been going to the gym a little bit. They used to be a very scrawny, weak civilization, but anabolic steroids definitely helps with that. Things such as 25% faster foraging is great. The fact that their 20% extra knight HP now applies to all cavalry units gives them a respectable scout rush. Before, it was not nearly as good because they, of course, are missing bloodlines. But combined, with things like free horse collar, we're talking about a civilization that is pretty decent. In the later stages of the game, they have the chivalry upgrade, which makes their stables work 40% faster. This applies to researching paladin, or just spamming them, or flooding with light cavalry. And, of course, the throwing axemen with a whopping 10 extra HP. So I think that speaks volume with how weak they were before. But now, this civ is pretty decent. And I feel like it can compete with civilizations like the Chinese, which are just a very well-rounded, overall great civilization. Both these players doing some deer luring. Now they're pulling in their boars. And I can't wait to see how this match turns out.
Yeah, this is the thing for the Franks. The extra HP on the scouts right from the start as well, without needing bloodlines. I mean, this is such a huge buff for especially 1v1. I mean, more often than not, the Franks in a team game are going to want to try and wall and get to the castle edge for the knights. But in a 1v1, when most of the time they can't do that, this scout bonus or buff is so huge. Obviously that's going to apply later on to the light cavalry as well. But, in the feudal age, this makes their scout rush super nice. And even in the Dark Age, that extra HP on the scout, you could use that to steal a boar. You could use that to kill your enemy's scouts, as they only have 45 HP. And it's just such a nice bonus to have. Anyway, Slam coming forwards with the scout here, going to take the 2 sheep away. And that means that Nicov, although he's spent time pushing in the deer, he's going to pay for it by missing out on 200 food from these sheep. But yeah, honestly, the Franks receiving much needed buffs for 1v1. The forage bonus is a nice little one as well, since it's an eco bonus which affects their food income. And as a scout rush civ, that's also something that's very nice and favorable for them. So yeah, Nicov here, losing the 2 sheep, not ideal, and also a little messy with his deer, but you know, he's going to get them in, and he's probably going for that scout rush that we spoke about with just 3 villagers on wood. I highly doubt he's going to be chucking down a barracks anytime soon, especially since he's walling up on this left side, and it's already like 7.5 minutes in. Slam, on the other hand, probably tempted to do a bit of a scout rush of his own, actually, but we'll see, as he keeps adding in more villagers right now, and he's certainly not looking for a super fast uptime here.
So when you steal 2 extra sheep, that certainly incentivizes you to go for a scout rush of your own, having access to all that extra food, but it looks like that might not be the case, or he's going to be going for something a little bit slower. He's got a very powerful economy. Nicov clicked up to Feudal now. If we swap over to Slam's perspective, he's also clicked up, so they're both at about the same time frame. A nice little wall off here for Nicov. We haven't had too much of a chance to talk about their maps, but the way that Nikov's lumber camp at the back is oriented, you know, it is really only vulnerable to watchtowers, but besides that, safe from archers. Same thing with his wood at the front. He does have his gold, though, at the top, and that's really going to be a point of contention this game. Meanwhile, Slam, with an excellent map. He's, of course, been taking a page from the Viper's playbook. 2 goals, super duper safe. A map that is nice and easy to wall. A stone that even protects his lumber camp. So Slam in a great position here. Going to open up with the barracks. I don't think he's going to do anything with this immediately. No rush from him. He just wants to wall up at the front. Meanwhile, Nicov has yet to reveal his hand, but I always assume that the scouts are coming unless they prove otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not an early barracks, it's definitely going to be the scouts. I mean, what else are you going to do as the Franks here? But I'm interested by Slam's play because, okay, he's walled up basically completely now. He's got up on 24 population, so it's not your kind of typical fast castle build-up. And he's not sent any villagers over to gold either, so it looks like he'll hit Feudal. And then he's not going to follow it up with immediately going up to the castle age. Maybe an archery range will come down here, or it's a stable actually. All right. So I thought maybe he'd play a little bit more defensive and you know, add some spears and then make some skirms and transition into archers. But he's actually going to go for a stable back here and play like a more defensive scout rush thing as well. It's kind of interesting. It's a little bit different to what we normally see, and Nicov definitely following the more standard meta game here.
Yeah, and I wonder why he's doing this. I feel like part of it is that he just scouted Nikov's base, and then he sees that the main stone is super far forward, the main gold is also exposed, so Slam probably feels like he has a nice little area to harass. In addition to that, though, he actually got Horse Collar and Double Bit Axe really early, which I always recommend unless you're going for a super fast castle age. Getting the Horse Collar up before you actually build any farms can be a pretty nice boost to your eco. And meanwhile at home, he's all walled up. He can go for his own sort of defensive scouts, and I don't think he fears the ones from Nicov either. Nicov, though, building a wall up of his own, trying to do the best that he can with the map he was given, and right now, a little bit of a lull in the action while we wait for the scouts to come out.
Yeah, I mean, Nikov's actually done quite a big wall off across the front, and he is slowly but surely working on the back as well. It's not the most elegant of walls, but it'll do the job, and it seems like both players are just going to end up skirmishing in the center of the map with the scouts. Of course, the Frank scouts are going to have that additional 9 HP, which is absolutely huge at this stage of the game. And yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out for Nicov here. And I wonder if Slam will consider going Bloodlines or not, because I feel like in Slam's position, he could probably get away with playing a little more greedy and perhaps not actually investing too much into the scouts here. But he's actually queuing more scouts out, so it seems like he's set and intent on doing some damage with these guys.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that works out for him. Right now, both players neck and neck, 4 scouts each, but that does favor Nicov with his additional 9 HP. Really critical early on. That could be an extra 3 hits that it requires to actually lose a scout in these early engagements. It's going to come down to some careful control. Of course, the player whose base you're fighting closest to has a slight advantage. They got that. That's where the production is. They could easily get an additional scout and come out on top. Slam, up to 5. Nicov, bringing in his 5th scout, going to take a little bit of damage here, and we're going to see an engagement with the 5th scout moving in from Nicov because, of course, with the extra HP, that favors him. Both these players doing this dance, and my question is, who does this favor? And we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, once Slam gets Bloodlines, we know that's going to kind of tip in his favor here. So the question is, will he go for Bloodlines? Judging by the fact he's adding 2 more scouts right now, I'm guessing the answer to that is going to be a big fat yes. He's also moving over 3 villages to gold. He's farming up quite heavily. And as you said, the really nice thing by Slam was to get the horse collar and bit axe before even seeding a farm. That was obviously in part due to the fact he stole 2 sheep from Nicov. The minor things like that are super valuable. And there's the Bloodlines tech coming in. He's waiting until that comes in before taking an engagement. And then, of course, he will have the superior scouts. So this is a really unusual fight, something we wouldn't normally see this style in AOC. And this is just kind of exclusive to the expansions, I guess, with the Franks having this buff. But yeah, I mean, Slam going to move out across now, looking to get a timing attack in here as this Bloodlines tech completes. He's got the numbers on his side. He's now got the health pool on his side with 65 health versus 54. Certainly some saving grace for Nicov to have that bonus, but it will now leave him behind. But at the same time, Slam maybe underestimating Nikov's ability to wall. He actually doesn't have much scouting info. He hasn't seen the wall across the front. And in actual fact, he's going to come up against this wall and realize, well, damn, I just invested a lot of resources into these scouts here. And, well, as it turns out, I can't seem to do anything with them. What am I going to do now?
Yeah. Neither of these players really able to get in there and do the damage that they want to do with their scout cavalry rating. But still, though, with the Bloodlines upgrade for Slam, he will certainly win any straight-up fight. The Franks have the initial strength, but when the upgrades come into play early on, they do just fall behind. Meanwhile, Slam's economy is kind of it's really shaping up. He has almost enough resources to start Advancing the Castle Age. He just needs a little bit more food, a few hundred of that. Still, on the other side of the map, Nicov did have the perfect economy for it. He's going to be the Castle Age so much sooner. This means he can go for knights, which you see the Franks go for all the time. That's something they've always been known to do, and this will give him a huge advantage. A second stable coming down for Nicov. Slam, moving 2 villagers forward. He's going to try and do a lot of damage before Nicov can get to the Castle Age.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to do that much, though. Maybe a forward building here, but I mean, I don't see what a tower's really going to achieve. Maybe if he gets one in on this wood line, it could disrupt some vills, but Slam could easily move his villagers away. But yeah, I mean, right now, this is not looking the best for Slam. Nikov's up at a great time. Of course, that's mostly due to the fact he made less scouts and he didn't invest in Bloodlines. So, yeah, Nicov actually Xing the tower here. That's kind of cool. He actually... Oh, yeah. Slam built the tower in his line of sight too close to the barracks. Nicov knows it's coming up and he can't stop it. He can't stop it. In fact, he won't even bother building a counter tower by the looks of things. He's just going to let it happen. And... I imagine once he gets to the Castle Age, he's planning on being able to push this back with the Knights anyway. He's set himself up perfectly for this. He's got 7 villagers on the gold. He's got lots of farmers up. Of course, Franks do get nice farms as well, so always keep that in mind. And now he's going to be at the Castle Age. His Knight's going to be very formidable. I don't know what blacksmith upgrades he's done yet. He's doing forging right now, and once the first Knight comes out, we'll be able to confirm what else he has there.
Man, he recognized immediately that he built that watchtower in the wrong position, just barely too close to that barracks. He deleted it, and he was hoping that Nicov wouldn't notice, but of course he did. That watchtower not going to be able to accomplish too much. Towns that are going down for Nicov, being the Castle Age first, certainly helps with that. He's going to put down a preemptive defensive monastery. He thinks that Slam is probably also going to transition into his own knights or camels. And I think this is the thing that, this is the thing I think that makes this matchup really interesting. Is that the Franks Knights are so overbearing, but the Chinese have camels, the Franks do not. So monks are a great answer to that. Slam bringing his spearmen forward. Slam just has to lose as few units as possible, stall till he gets the Castle Age, and try and transition into camels. He might be able to. With Bloodlines too, that's going to be quite threatening. And we check out Slam's perspective. He's on the way there. He just has to avoid losing too many villagers before he gets there.
Yeah, Slam actually did lose the 2 forward vills, which is pretty unfortunate. His tower's not really going to do that much all in all. And it's going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but it's not going to be lasting damage, especially now that the TC is garrisoned here. Slam's going to enter into Nikov's space, see what he can find. Nice, very nice quick wall from Nicov there. The villager's going to be able to hop into the TC over the wall, and he's completely blocked those. What a beautiful move by Nicov. That was just, beautiful palisade walls. Really, really well done. And he's going to be able to take the tower down, no sweat. So Slam also investing in that tower means that he doesn't have the stone for second and third TC without having to go and gather some, which he has done. So he's building his second and third TC, but yeah, straight into camels as expected. And yeah, I think that was really an obvious choice for Slam in this game.
Oh, that it was. This game kind of playing out exactly as we anticipated. In fact, Slam going to put down a defensive monastery of his own because, of course, monks, excellent value unit versus knights. Knights might not be able to get up to them before the conversion comes off. No, it's a huge momentum swing of resources because knights are so very expensive. So monks, an excellent defensive response to that. The watchtower at the front for Slam is dead. Nicov, with a slight advantage in his castle age timing, will allow him to put down another town center a little bit sooner. But Slam really not that far behind, actually. Slam going to have his third town center up at really about the same time. So, wow. These guys, actually, no, he's going to have it up even a little bit sooner. That's excellent. Nicov, though, with +1 attack, he's got +1 defense. We have reached a little bit of a stalemate situation. But the fact that Slam is holding on is really good for him.
Yeah, I think the Slams might be a little bit behind in eco. Not by much, but just a small amount. The third TC for Nicov is a little bit later. So, yeah, and obviously as well, I think Nicov was a little faster to get the knights out, a little faster to get the monastery up. So overall, I'd give Nicov a small edge here. I mean, the scores give him quite a big edge, actually. I don't know how much that might be to scouting. Wow. Look at Nikov's scouting. Holy crap. He's like 80% of the map right now. That's really impressive. But yeah, so Nicov holding out in the center of the map. And I don't know how this next engagement's going to go because Slam does have monks, he does have camels, and Nicov has monks, but he has knights. So in theory, you would think that Slam should be able to get the upper hand in this next engagement here. Upgrade-wise, they both have bloodlines, they both got +1/+1. Slam's looking for the right fight now. And you see Nicov going forward with his scouts. He's going to see the camels. He's going to go in there. And looks like he's going to go for a run at the monks. Oh, what a great little play. If you can get the monks, that would be great. But it looks like he's going to be able to... not going to be able to do that, sorry. Nice try, though.
Yeah, I think that would have been a good play. My thought was you should be really conservative with your scouts because you're going to need them to deal with the monks in a mirror match like this that's full-on cavalry. But he felt like he could get a nice pick-off there. I think that's more dangerous when there are camels floating around. And he almost did it, but Slam controlled his monks and his units quite nicely. Losing those 5 scouts is going to be huge. Slam sees this as a window of opportunity. Finally, the stalemate can be broken. Slam has a moment to push out. If he can get some pickoffs with his own scouts, he might win this fight. But both these players have to be careful as they do this dance. The one with the hill advantage is going to come out on top. Look at how hesitant these two players are to engage. Who's going to win this fight?
Well, I'm fascinated by Nikov's build here. First of all, though, Slam coming in with the scouts will pick off one of the monks, but I think Nicov might have the monk advantage here. He's converting a couple of the camels, and he just needs to try and go for the monks at the back. I think he's got the army numbers. He's bringing in some spearmen as well, and if he can get one monk kill, I think Nicov will come out on top in this engagement. Maybe he will get another conversion as well. He's got to bring his monk forward. Slam running away now. And yeah, numbers kind of swinging towards Nicov there. Not the best fight for Slam all in all. But what really struck me about Nikov's build is that he actually added in a second monastery. And he's adding in a third barracks as well. So Nicov really switching things up there as that pikeman upgrade comes in. And he makes 2 monks here. I assume he would make 2 monks at a time as he has added in the second monastery. Also, on top of all this, Frank's, of course, cheaper castles. He's going to be going ahead and mining out stone with 7 villagers. Maybe we're going to see like a forward castle drop here as well. And Nicov playing a pretty typical Franks game for a 1v1, I feel. Monks are very common for Franks. And also, of course, the cheaper castles come into play quite a lot as well. In fact, moving villagers forward now, he might be looking for that castle drop.
We'll have to keep our eye on those. There's a lot of villagers coming forward. That fight there was really interesting, and you have to always be careful of controlling your units. And I feel like that one right there was just weaker control for Slam, and Nicov really played that one perfectly. When the conversion comes out, you have to be careful to make sure that you don't have like 7 camels fighting one of your converted ones, and you're actually pressuring the opponent's army too. But it didn't really work out that way in practice, and the scouts didn't get to pick off that many of the monks either. They only got one. The conversions were just not there. And now, Slam looking for an opportunity to re-engage. He will get the first few conversions off. The question is, though, should he be going for the monks or should he be going for the knights? He is going, though, straight for the monks. A couple pikemen coming in there from Nicov. What an excellent counter army. And the camels just getting cleaned up. Having your own camels used against you is such an awful feeling.
Again, another fantastic engagement for Nicov. The pikemen in there really swinging things around. And Slam now with that defensive castle. He is building a castle of his own. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, the Chinese can really put up a good fight versus the Franks in the late game. But this castle age composition from Nicov is fantastic, putting the monks to really great use. And I was wondering what his monk text might have been. I don't know if he actually had atonement or anything like that. So I'm not sure if he would have gone for the monk conversions. It seems like he went for the camels instead, and it certainly worked, whatever he did. So, yeah, I mean, he's actually going to be maybe even delaying the castle here as he converts some villagers as well. I like that. 3 villagers going the way of Nicov there. 4 even. Fantastic stuff. That castle, absolutely crucial for Slam as he's completely lost map control now. He has no idea the castle from Nikov's on the front, but a great castle location from him. Protecting his forward farms, of course, and also that gold.
Man, those monks slowly delaying that castle. I feel like if Slam can get to the Imperial Age, he can totally go toe-to-toe with the Franks, like you said. I love the Chinese broad, wide-open tech tree. The Franks don't really have that benefit. The Franks are they're known, of course, for their paladin spam, and in a 1v1, that can be a lot weaker because it's a huge toll on your economy. It's super expensive. The mobility matters a bit less. And gold is, of course, a finite resource. Nicov with just a commanding military lead right now. I feel like he had not only the superior control, but he just made excellent units. You'd think the camels would be good enough, and they almost were, but not quite. Now, Nicov on his way to the Imperial Age. Is Slam close behind? The answer is yes. He hasn't actually clicked up yet. He's going to put down a market to try and rebalance his economy.
Yes.
I feel like if the game goes late and he can transition to Chuko News, he's in good shape. But he right now has to survive.
He's got to get that transition. And actually, you know, one of the things that a lot of people don't think about the Chinese as being a good camel civ. Chinese actually have fully upgraded camels. They get all the defense, all the attack. They get heavy camel. They get bloodlines. They get obviously husbandry. So and of course, yeah, I said bloodlines already. So their camels are actually really strong, and this is really nice against a Frank opponent who's likely to be making a lot of knights, maybe cavalier. But yeah, I mean, right now, look at that cheeky tower from Nicov right there. There is actually a counter tower from Slam coming up, so that's not going to be successful. But I liked the attempt anyway. That's kind of amusing. But yeah, Slam just trying to hold out, and he is going into the Chuko Nu right now. We're probably not going to see the heavy camel. I think the Chuko Nu will be the better unit for now anyway, just because of the army composition from Nicov.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I feel like this is also a fairly nicely placed defensive castle in that it protects all the farms. But on the flip side, it is so vulnerable to being trebbed on the low ground there. And Nicov going to get to the Imperial Age first. We see time and time again how important that is, getting the first few trebuchets out to break that stall. It's one of the safest ways to remove an enemy castle. Nicov going to convert a house. Or he's having his own house, right?
That's his own house, yeah.
He's got the watchtower, a university coming down from Slam. I think he's looking for ballistics. And right now, he just needs to stall. Nicov will get out the first treb, and that's going to be really awful for Slam. All of his castles are so vulnerable.
Yeah, it does seem, though, like Nikov's going quite heavy into the knights here. I mean, as the Franks, really, what else do you do? I mean, he's kind of got no real choices but to go quite heavy into the heavy cavalry. The thing is, Chinese actually deal with heavy cavalry very well. Chuko Nu are great at dealing with you know, tanky units. Just the amount of arrows they fire, they shred through siege rams or siege in general. They really do a great job versus heavy cavalry. Plus, of course, the camels, which we spoke about already. Now, Slam is super fortunate in that although he's really boxed in, I mean, he's got less than maybe an eighth of the map here. It's ridiculous how little space he's got to build. But he's fortunate in the fact he has all of the crucial resources back here. 2 main or big gold piles, a decent wood line for now. And while he chops that away, he'll obviously free up more space as well. I'm surprised he didn't go grab the relic at the back. There's no harm in doing that. But yeah, I mean, he's super, super constricted in here. I like the forward market from Nicov, bringing trade to his enemy here. But yeah, I mean, it's just... Actually... Why did he build that market there? He actually doesn't have a market yet. So, there you go. The first market of the game for Nicov.
So, I'm really glad that you pointed out the map discrepancy because that's what's really keeping Slam in the game. Remember, we talked about this earlier. His map is so very good. He has all those free resources in the back. This means that even though he's boxed in and he's lost map control, he's still able to keep himself in the game. But map control is everything. Age of Empires 2 is ultimately a game of resources, whether it's your population, how much space you have to build, or your actual resources. Nicov able to mine some gold on the top side of the map for free. He's going to get the heavy camel upgrade, and he sees this as an opportunity to engage. He's got Bracer too. Can he win this fight?
Man, I was surprised to see heavy camel so quickly, actually. But man, those monks at the back from Nicov doing work. Oh, wow. They're getting so many conversions in there. I've got to say that this combination of Chuko Nu and heavy camels is really nice. But the monks at the back are just ruining this for Slam. If the monks weren't there, maybe he'd actually get an edge in that fight. But the monks just, so annoying. You got to wave your wallows in the air like you just don't care sometimes. And Nicov doing just that, getting so many conversions. I want to see the conversion count at the end because this hasn't been a game that has gone particularly long yet. And we've seen a lot of conversions already. So very well played to Nicov there. But Slam's still got a reasonable army. 140 population versus Nikov's 166. And it looks like Slam's castle is taking a beating as well as he runs out of stone. And that means no repairs. He has to buy stone. And we've seen what this leads to.
The really fascinating thing to me is that Slam didn't even train a trebuchet at all. He just wanted to go for that heavy camel upgrade, push out. I just feel like he didn't have enough resources. I agree that this combination of Chukonus plus heavy camels is absurdly strong. And I actually feel like it should beat that army if you can just have the economy to back this up and take the good fights. But this is really awkward. It's like a choke point there. There's a castle. He has to deal with the trebuchet pressure on the other side of the tree line. I feel like he has the better army. He just has to take this out. The Chuko is great against trebuchets since they fire 3 shots compared to normal archers. Oh god, this is so dicey. He has to take out that treb. He's actually not going to make any trebs of his own or rely strictly on camels and Chuko. It's such an interesting play.
Everything's just kind of falling apart for Slam now as his army just keeps getting converted. Nicov is going on, like, working overtime with these monks. They've got block printing right now as well. So that 12 range, he's getting conversions all over the place. And this is really hurting Slam. He can't afford to just sit here and let his army continually get converted. It's just costing him so much, and he's achieving absolutely nothing right now. The castle, I've got no doubt this is going to go down, as Nicov just needs to hold this. There's literally nothing else that Nicov needs to do other than sit here and just let Slam continue to run at him. Just keep converting these units. No problem whatsoever. Well, they're saying that the Chukonu is starting to move forward a bit more now. But yeah, there you go. Nicov bringing in the Cavalier. And yeah, the castle's going to fall. He's got no stone. He can't afford to buy another 100 stone. And now it's Paladin for Nicov. Oh, there you go. That's the timing you wanted to see. The Paladin coming in. And the GG from Slam.
I really liked Slam's army comp. I feel like he had the superior one there, but he couldn't get the elite Chukonu, which I think is crucial in this matchup. Being able to fire 5 arrows instead of 3 versus these high pierce armor units is great. I love the heavy camels, but ultimately, though, it was those monks from Nicov, I feel like, that made a huge difference. They were healing the paladins, keeping their health up, getting all these conversions, like you said, working overtime, and Slam just couldn't keep his castle alive. He was boxing his base for so long. As a result, Nicov comes out on top. What a great game.
Nicov had a really nice game there. That was a really good play from him. I mean, I think Slam might have made a couple of mistakes. I think he went too heavy into the scouts in the feudal age without having the information of Nikov's map. He probably overinvested into them, and that maybe set him behind a little bit going up to the castle age and on his economy. And it no doubt did cause him to lose a bit of map control once Nicov hit the castle age faster. And I think really that game was, it wasn't necessarily won on the fact that Nicov had the map control, but it just added a huge obstacle to Slam in the fact that he wasn't able to break out of this base, and he was eventually going to slowly and surely get starved out. Plus the fact he just couldn't take a nice fight against these forward castles from Nicov and the monks. The monks just did so much. Just very quickly check the military stats to see the conversions, and there was 38 conversions for Nicov there. That's really valuable when the largest army of Slam was 38. Very nice.
One moment, I have to tell my roommates to keep it down. But yes, that was a great game between both players. Definitely digging the monks there, and I can't wait to see the next game.
Yeah, Nicov had a really nice game. He actually captured the relics as well. Had a bit of extra relic gold. 30 extra villagers, nice. And I just want to bring the attention to the units again. Because, look at this. I mean, Nicov here, 38 conversions. That's over half of the amount of units that Slam actually killed that game. And it really messes with the scoreboard because Slam both killed the most and lost the most. But which is not technically possible in a 1v1 without the conversions. But we're going to throw it to Nopford now for his analysis.
With great micro and great map control. There was one weird moment for Slam in Castle Age where I was a bit confused by his decision making. He lost a lot of fights, got a lot of converts against him, and then decided to go aggressively. Look at the points. He's heavily behind in points. He has lower army. He's going aggressively with the villagers and now needs to retreat and is losing that fight heavily at the front. And now the villagers need to retreat and he needs to build a castle at a very weird spot, very defensively there. And therefore, Nicov could, just toy with them. And then we get into that situation. Now the castle is here, very tough to defend. Slam is taking a fight in a very tight area, but very tight areas normally would be good for Chinese. But in this case, he doesn't have on just yet. The camels aren't performing too well against all the monk converts. I think halberdiers in this spot would have been so much better for him. But at all this time, Slam completely didn't build a single villager after reaching Imperial Age. We can check that from time to time. Chukanu's in the back, beautiful. Camels at the front, normally very good against the cavaliers, but the converts are just coming in and he's losing so much. The castle, no range, so it's only helping out sometimes, but Chukanus can't really get the distance. No traps coming out because he wants to keep up Chukanu production, not getting on that stone spot. I believe if he just wouldn't have taken that weird fight over here, he could have taken the castle up on this hill, gone onto stone, maybe repair a bit longer, get some defensive traps out. Yeah, he would lose a lot at this front, but he just built that all after the castle. And yeah, then just defend the rest better and go for more Chukanus. Look at that, still no villager production. I was super confused. We went into Imperial Age, both same army, both same military villager count, but he just couldn't make it happen. More converts coming in, and just think about it, 38 converts winning him the game. And yeah, you can see it's not a single good engagement coming up here for Slam. And I really question if, camels is the best choice here. You can see running in, running back. The control isn't the greatest either. Simply only because he wants to save that castle and is taking bad fight after bad fight. And then Nicov gets him paladins. And yeah, beautiful play by Nicov. Nice execution and questionable decision making here by Slam.